Welcome to Across the Desk and our new series in partnership with Maddy Dever, the Autistic Rambler. Maddy is a non-binary autistic advocate engaged in political advocacy, a parent of 5, and a very funny person. I think we're going to have a lot to talk about, and we look forward to you joining the conversation. Now let's get to rambling. I caught you right in the stuck in the middle.
Stuck in the middle with you.
So we're jumping in. So we pressed record. I think you're right. I think we should change it and have a stream called "We Press Record."
Exactly. Yeah.
So
no, it's shall we press record? That's what it is.
I'm going to do that today.
Yep.
And that's going to become a thing. So
yep.
So good morning. Good morning, and welcome to.
Morning. Well, depending where you are, it may be midnight wherever you are, or 3:00 in the morning. And for those of you, hopefully we don't put you to sleep, or maybe you need us to put you to sleep.
Have you had enough coffee?
No, I will require a third cup very shortly.
Okay, I'm just checking.
I've had two.
And I'm on the wrong microphone. So I'm going to switch that as well. There we go.
Yeah, and I'm moving my microphone closer.
You do your voice.
I'll do my voice, yes.
So
welcome
good morning
to the podcast. Okay.
Rabbit. So my name's Elizabeth Plouffe. I am the founder of Spiro Canada and the co-founder, now sole founder of Socially ASD. And I focus on building neurodivergent inclusive employment solutions with the neurodivergent community. There's other stuff we do, but our main focus is building solutions for a variety of problems with the people that we're trying to help. And the person I'm forcing to record themselves.
Let me out.
We don't want to do that. As the ever-loving Maddy Dever.
Hello. It's lovely to chat with you again. Every time we have these little chats, impromptu chats, one of the other of us decides that maybe we should record this. So here we are.
So I just messaged Maddy. I was at an event yesterday, and I'm doing some, comparative analysis on how to get engagement on something that happened yesterday at the event. I was at Level Up London, which is an amazing initiative that started a few years ago. And one of the things we do at Spiro and Socially ASD is bring awareness to neurodivergence in manufacturing and trades. And so why do we do that? So 22 years ago, my husband lost his third job in manufacturing, not through anything he did, but the companies shut down one after another. So wherever he was, he stayed and he did good work and what have you. But by the third company shutting down and leaving the province, I got a little annoyed and said, okay, enough of this foolishness. And he went into trades. So why that's an important share is that my husband was also diagnosed as dyslexic at 12 and left high school at 16, because I'm of a certain vintage where individuals who struggled in school, it was related to intellect versus learning ability. And my husband could not get any support. And so at 16, he ended up getting kicked out of the house and had to support himself, and school was just not a priority. So fast forward to a wife and 2 kids and a mortgage later.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Oh man, well, shit got real when he lost his third job. And we are definitely a 2-income family. And so we made the hard decision for him to enter trades. So why was that a hard decision? Well, that's because apprenticeships are long, not supported, and not inclusive. We didn't know how bad it was until he got into it. And he comes from, families of boilermakers and tradespeople. So now, 21 years later, he is an industrial millwright, industrial electrician, and commercial electrician. And we have a son who you've heard about before if you've listened before. And our son was diagnosed autistic at 7 and ADHD at 9. He was also diagnosed dyslexic. However, upon reflection, Thomas has done extremely well with reading. Math is his bugaboo. So I think he's actually got dyscalculia and a little bit of dysgraphia, but dyslexic, he does really well with reading. Now, he is in trades, and he is a welder and a certified forklift operator and an apprentice millwright. So why we're talking about this today is because, so I also call Maddy Betty and Cookie. So you'll hear. So I messaged Betty and said, hey, Betty, can we, do you have a minute? We started talking about something else. But one thing that Maddy and I paused because one thing Maddy and I have agreed upon for 6 years now is the importance of lived experience, the importance of stories. And this is what triggered it for me, is when you reminded me the importance of data when it comes to stories. And then we jumped into what I call, loud versus quiet autism. So yesterday, poor Maddy will get a chance to speak, I promise. It'll all come together. There's a little bit of a backstory here. So I'm at an event yesterday. We are part of an amazing project from the Canadian Association of Mold Makers, and they have launched a year-long project called Tech Bridges to talk about mold makers as a trade. And so we're at these events, and we're part of the project in order to support bringing the message around neurodivergence in trades and what have you. So we're at the thing yesterday. And towards the end of the event, a gentleman and a young lady approached the table. And as you may have guessed by how long I'm going on and poor Maddy's being silent, I have no problem being chatty.
None at all.
None at all. So they approach, and the young lady, so our team has what we call Audidar, where in certain circumstances, there are some telltale signs that somebody might be neurodivergent, more specifically autistic. And this young lady definitely was giving off the Audi vibes. And what did you call it?
I called it what did I say?
Situational mutism?
Yeah, situational mutism.
Right. So I believe that's what was going on, because you could tell, and I know this sounds odd, but you could tell she was bright. Like there was a lot of wisdom going on behind those eyeballs. And so we were talking, and I was explaining about, CAM. And then I explained Spiro's rule, which is supporting neurodivergence in manufacturing and trades. And her eyeballs, like almost, what was that movie? Mask.
Oh, yes.
Popping
out.
Wolf, whatever. And I was like, so that, oh, yeah. Yeah. So I said, that resonates with you. And she happened to be eating this little pot of chocolate rocks, which you can get from Bulk Barn. They're really good and they look cool on a cake. I used to buy them for my kids. Then I shared how I'm neurospicy with ADHD, and my husband is dyslexic, and our son is the melting pot of those genes.
The best of both worlds.
Oh, absolutely. And her eyes bugged out again. And then she did something that I'm still processing today, which is she looked in her pot of chocolate rocks and she picked one out and she held it out to me. And I put my hand out. I'm like, what are you giving me? And I look at it. Now, I'm not ungrateful, but I have pretty severe allergies. I had to make sure it wasn't an accidental almond. Otherwise, the story would have had a bad ending.
That's why you're neurospicy, not neurosweet.
I like to think I'm sweet and spicy.
Well, yeah, you're a little bit of both.
I mean, I have another story to do with that, but we'll do that later. So, to me, that was a form of pebbling.
Mm-hmm.
And Maddy, that was
literally, it's literally pebbling.
Literally pebbling. And I was really touched. and I knew why she'd done it. And it was her way of conveying a connection and conveying sort of gratitude isn't the right word, like appreciation, whatever it be called for what I do. And it took me a moment to process that. But had I not been willing to share my own story, had I not been willing to share my husband's story, and I have both of my husband and my son's permission, by the way, to talk about them and use them as examples of success, I wouldn't have been able to make that connection. Mm-hmm. And then I talked to somebody else at the event, and I won't disclose the organization or whatever because I don't have their permission. But I spoke to one of the gentlemen, and they shared that their son is on the spectrum and is now a successful train conductor with CP Rail, which is a heavy duty job. And then I asked, when you're in the classroom and you're teaching about XYZ, do you share that? No. And I said, why would your son object? And he'd be like, oh no, he'd be thrilled. He loves talking about, and I'm like, it's trains and autism. Like,
yeah, can we get any more stereotypical?
Can we get any right? more like? But yes. He felt that sharing that in the class would, some people might want to hear that. And I will confess, I said, who gives a shit what they think? I'm like, what about the people whose minds you could change? Yeah. Whose opinions you could broaden, whose opportunities you could create from being willing to share that story. So that's what prompted Maddy and I onto this, and the quiet versus loud autism, where the loud folks who, and we're not meaning this in any kind of derogatory, negative way. This was the distinction that was made by an autistic content creator that gave me the idea. So folks who have big stims or big verbal stims or big verbal responses or big body language or big reactions or whatever could be considered like the loud form of autism. I'm using air quotes if you're listening.
The obviously autistic.
The obvious, right.
Yeah.
And then we have the sort of covert audis who, don't need loud reactions in the moment and don't
do loud reactions.
Right.
It's not about
need it, but they right.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're absolutely right. Present, again, air quotes, as close to neurotypical as anybody could be.
Yeah. Passing.
Oh, sorry. That gives me a nauseous reaction.
I know. It does me too. That's why the whole concept of passing is
it harkens to so many communities, because how many in the LGBTQ plus community have had to pass, and how many people in the Black community who happen to be of biracial parentage have to pass or whatever. And so what was interesting was that the accommodations are no less important for how either individual shows up.
Yeah.
So today's chat is about stories and accommodations and all kinds of stuff.
So what prompted the should we hit record is I said that the reason many of the quiet autistics who seem to be able to get by doing their thing, in many cases it's because of accommodations. In many cases we've learned, we've been able to get the skills to be able to find out what we need to keep us together. But the moment you take away those accommodations, the quiet can become loud, and the loud becomes even more challenging. It is challenging to be autistic, period.
Yeah.
Some of us are able to manage our sensory world better, and some of us have, through privilege have been able to have the support needed when we were younger to learn things and or have our environment more stable so that we've learned how to adapt better.
Okay.
But
Right.
take those away,
yeah, you're screwed.
It's a challenge.
Privilege is an interesting word because what struck me yesterday when that gentleman shared that he does not use his lived experience story in his teaching was, sorry, I'm having a moment to kind of gather those words together, but what do we lose, right?
Yeah.
I was very fortunate a couple of years ago to work with Mary Kate Gray at Sheridan College and be invited to deliver a series of workshops to guidance counselors, special resource staff, and all kinds of stuff, where I pulled out my stories. And I know at the end of the day that we changed some minds. And I started taking inadvertent polls around people who, would you recommend trades to people who are neurodivergent? And why would you, or why wouldn't you, or what have you? And the majority of it was because they don't know trades. But then they've also never had an example of somebody who is a successful tradesperson who's neurodivergent. So my husband now comes with me to as many trades events as he can. And I've actually invited him, when I've been invited to speak, to come in and talk to folks, because he shares how hard it was and still is for him. Right. So don't get me wrong. My husband, we joke all the time. Right. So he got his IQ tested back in the day, and it's higher than mine, which really irritates me. But he also walked in one day and I was reading like book number 7, and he just looked at me. And to your point about privilege, I have never realized what a privilege it is. I can read whatever I want. It's strictly interest based.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing off the table for me to read and digest. And he looked at me and he said, if I had your gift, I would be, reading stuff to make myself better or whatever. Like, first and foremost, are you trying to tell your wife that she needs to be better? Because
we all need to be better. All.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah. But it was him being willing to share that.
Yeah.
That made me view my gift of reading very differently.
Yeah. It's the concept of privilege is sometimes, we're given gifts from birth of ways to do things, ways to process things, and then we may have the privilege through opportunities that we are given by where we're born, who are our families, where we are.
100%.
Yeah, privilege. Like, there are many autistics who have privilege.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, there we go. I'm back. Yeah, I'm back. Sorry, my
you went a little
screen. Yeah, my video, I can't see anything on the screen, so I'm just staring at the camera, which is an interesting thing. I don't usually do that. But my screen went, oh, you're not doing anything. Let's just go. So I have to keep moving.
I can still see you. So
yeah, yes. Okay. Yeah. So there can be autistics with privilege, but we still, we can still have all of these other disabling challenges that the world throws around us.
Yes.
So we were talking about stories, and we're both facilitators of Employment Works, and we have a group of autistics that we're working with right now. And through many of our sessions, one of the things that we really established is that, when we're looking at ourselves, when we have all the negative thoughts and whatnot that we tell us, in the absence of data, about ourselves, about who we are, about our
Are you
identity, about how we
stealing my thing?
Yes, I am. With the absence of data, we tell
We
ourselves
tell ourselves
stories.
stories. Yeah.
But on the flip side, right? All right, the reason with the absence of stories, data doesn't necessarily make sense. And this is what we're talking about. You know, when we're meeting with people that have these stories but are afraid to share them, like
The
these are
data
the
gets
stories
weird.
that can change the world around you.
Yeah, 100% agree. And it's critical. And so I actually stole that from Brene Brown. So
All right. So, yeah.
that's right. Multi-level steal at this point, but she was using it in a different context. No, it was probably a very similar context, but she says it's slightly different. But we started doing that because we noticed from the get-go. We did an interesting thing last session where we measured folks' mental health from when we began in June to now. And I think everybody was being very honest, and everybody had a 3 to 5 point jump from the beginning to now, which was massive. So the scale was 1 to 10. One of the most consistent things that we see is, man, sometimes those stories are so mean.
Yeah.
Like Freddy Krueger meets Mean Girls meets, I don't even know.
Yeah.
And they take it as Bible, right? It becomes their truth because nobody gets in the way. So last time we got into a conversation about the topic was self-care. We're getting slightly off topic, but not. And a few months ago, I had a pretty significant mental health wobble. Golly, that still hits sometimes.
I know.
And it was pretty bad. And I chose not to keep it a secret. I chose to share what I was going through. And full disclosure, I was suicidal, and a lot of stuff had gone down over about a year and a half, and I could not see a way out. I couldn't see my company being successful. I couldn't see, I just saw everything collapsing, and obviously didn't go through with it. Otherwise, that's pretty spectacular.
Yeah. This is hi Elizabeth.
This is the ghost of Elizabeth. And no joke, I've told my family I could come back and haunt them. But anyway, so it's not something that I've shared with many people. Maddy was one of them. And I chose that day in class to share with our group. Because in the absence of data, we tell ourselves stories in that we see somebody who appears to have it all together, who appears to be doing great, who appears to be running a successful business. And you know, I mean, you can tell me otherwise, Maddy, and I'll take it on the chin. Overall, I'm a good teacher, and I've got some experience and wise words, and right.
I would not be doing a podcast with you if that was not the case.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I think very highly of you.
Okay, we're not doing that today. Thank you. Me too.
But I do.
So I shared that, and I was very open about it. And I think you and Sydney had left the room, and I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but one of our participants stopped me from leaving the room, and everybody else had gone, and they thanked me for sharing that. And that individual happens to struggle greatly with negative self-perception and a few other things. And I think showing that I have times as well where my story is not going great help them.
Yeah.
So would I do that on every stage? No, but
yeah, it's the context is important. So when we're in a conversation with somebody and we see an element that something that we've experienced in the past can share to connect. So many times when I've done that, I've seen there's a need that people have to hear the stories, to connect, to pull them out of wherever they are. I've built my whole public speaking and teaching out of sharing my lived experience, because others haven't been able to, and I want to enable other people to grow and move because they know they can, because others can, because others have experienced this. It's you sharing changed the room, and it also made all of their growth more it was a connection to their growth and your growth. And I think that without that, they would have grown, but they've grown deeper because of you sharing that experience.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I share it because I want them to know. I want anybody to know.
Mm.
I grew up neurospicy and didn't know. I grew up with a lot of, I'll preface all of this by saying I had great parents. I love my older brother who's still with me. I had great friends. I have a great family now. I'm extremely happily married and very lucky to say that. I'm coming up to 30 years married in June. I have 2 great kids who make me proud every single day. I have an incredible team at Spiro who make me proud every single day. And I still got to that point where I didn't want to wake up the next day. And so that was the point of sharing that with our group, was despite all of that, I still got there, but I also got myself out, but I asked for help. And that was my point to them, was I talked to people about it and they gave me perspective. And what I found not perplexing, I don't know what the right word is to describe it, was the look of shock on people's faces.
Yeah.
And I was like, didn't see that coming. Maybe I have it more together than I thought. Or maybe I fake it better. I don't know.
You have a persona that's very you have a gravitas of leading that makes it very seems to put together. I know you more, so I know when you have challenges, and that's important. But that doesn't usually change how you appear when you're in front. But when you share those things, it doesn't change the gravitas of your leadership. It actually makes you okay. I think leadership without stories is management. Leadership with stories is where I think that truth sits.
I think so. Like, I would agree with that. And that's one of to give Brene, credit where credit is due. I've read a lot of her books and I've taken on a lot of her work. And I watched a lot of videos with her. She's got a new book out now that I will likely get, like, let's be honest. Although I didn't share with you, I came home yesterday from the event and I had pre-ordered Dolly Parton's new book like 2 months ago. And I came home yesterday after that. It was a good day, don't get me wrong, but a day of sharing stories and whatever. And Dolly was waiting for me.
Did it cost you $9.25?
No, you don't get a point for that one.
Come on, 925. Come on.
I know it was good,
All right.
but no.
All right.
For those of you that don't know, a semi-common thing with autistics is punning. And I have the score sheets at the office.
Words are my special interest. One of them.
Word combos are your special interest.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
I have panache.
So you do.
Or a panache, depending, you know.
Have a panache. You have a panache. Oh, that starts to get dirty. Okay, moving on. Anyway, our point is that, you know, one, you never know who's listening to your story.
Yeah.
Maddy said something very important at the beginning, which it is about context. So there are times it is not appropriate to share certain stories, and recognizing that, you know, if you happen to be on the spectrum, that's not a strength for the most part. So you will have to try and fail and try and succeed on when to share those stories and what that looks like. It does require a level of vulnerability. It does require paying attention and making sure that the person you share with has your confidence in mind, right? The other thing that we did during that session where I shared the other thing was talk about, you know, people at work moving into friendships and who you share things with and who you maybe don't, right? So there are times where I don't share most stories. I certainly wouldn't share the one I shared last week with folks. That, for the most part, falls under the category of Nunya, which is Nunya business. But when I feel like it would make a difference and I'm in the right brain space, yeah, I'll share pretty much. I've had a lot of weird shit go down in my life, and pretty, not to be dramatic, but pretty big stuff.
Yeah.
So if it'll help someone, otherwise, what's the point of having gone through it?
Yeah, that's honestly, that is what I tell myself when I'm going through the absolute shysters, that getting through it is there for me to help others who are going through something similar.
Right?
You know, it's basically life throws you a whole bunch of lemons, so you have to, you know, basically go buy some watermelons as well and make lemonade with watermelon. It was funny in my head. Yeah, lemon and melons. Anyways, hello. Honestly, that's my attitude is I can't stop what's happening to me now, but whatever I'm going through and I learn from this,
yeah,
I'm going to be able to share it. I'm going to be able to find a way, you know, everything I do is to make the lives of other autistics after me better, right? So if it means that I got to go through this, you know, the cycle of crap because the world's throwing it at me, I'm going to learn how to deal with it better so that I can help others not go through it, or go through it with the tools I need.
You got to make the squeeze worth the juice, and that's
exactly,
and that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm about to have a huge coughing fit. Just a moment, please.
And I need another coffee, but
coffee. Yeah. We're almost done.
We're almost done. Exactly.
We're almost done.
This is the part of the podcast where we are either going to finish up within 2 minutes or we're going to go on for another 20.
Traditionally speaking, 20 wins, because something else will get said or a moment will happen. But
exactly, yeah.
Part of what I was asking Maddy at the beginning, why I asked them to pop on, why I wanted to process, is because I am fortunate to be in a position where I'm attending a ton of events and I'm able to talk about neurodivergence in general, but you know, specifically about manufacturing and trades and employment related and what have you. And I've seen what happens when I share the personal appropriate bits, right? Like I stick to, I'm ADHD. This is how I know. My husband was diagnosed dyslexic, left school at 16, is now successfully in trades. I stick to, my son was diagnosed, ASD at 7 and ADHD at 9, and the amazing stuff he's done since then, because those data are the foundation of a story that people can believe. And that is the main thing.
Yeah.
Is that somebody, who was it? Bridget Hampstead.
Yes.
Just shared, it's become cool and it's become whatever to hop on the neurodivergence train and pretend like you're a pro. I'm sorry, but if you are not bringing lived experience data to the table, step off.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
not helping.
Stories are important, but stories got to align with data as well, right?
Yes.
That's the thing that I have found. The success I've had in changing systems and changing people's perspective is stories plus data.
Yes.
Where the two are together, that's where real change happens. Change inside the person, change inside of systems.
Yes. I'm reaching out to a friend of mine. We've known each other for decades. And they happen to have the patience to work with the Cricut system, where you put these sheets of, I don't know, plastic shit through this doodad and it cuts whatever into it. And then I had great high hopes for this machine, and we were going to make, anyway, it turns out I have the patience of a gnat. And the second I had to buy little picky tools to pull the bits and pieces off, and I'm like, peace out. This is not my, whereas Jody is just happy as a lark to pull all the pieces out and do all the whatevers. And so I think I'm going to get a sweatshirt, 2 sweatshirts made, or, whatevers. And on the back of one is going to be, in the absence of data, we tell ourselves stories.
Yeah.
And I have to double check that that's not a direct Brene Brown quote. Otherwise, I might have to give her credit. And then proud, very proud. I'm proud to be neurospicy.
Yeah.
I let people shame me for a very long time, and I didn't realize that's what was happening. The story I was telling myself was there was something wrong with me.
Yeah.
The story I was telling myself was I needed to change who I was so that I didn't make them uncomfortable. And when that particular storyteller was no longer in the situation, I discovered it wasn't me.
Yeah. You were stuck in the shoulds.
I was stuck in somebody else's shoulds.
Exactly. That's right. It's not just, but somebody else, with the absence of data, of the real data, what's going on.
Yeah.
It's other people's shoulds towards you become your story.
Yeah.
And it's a our life is choose your own adventure.
I love those books.
Oh, me too. You can change where you go. You're not forced to live in somebody else's writing of your life.
And you know what? So yes, and I think there are situations where that is the case, right? Like there are constraints, folks. We're not saying this is for all, and you're going to end up in Bali on a beach having a eat, pray, love moment. But could you end up taking the bus once or twice a week to get to a program that can help you?
Mm-hmm.
Where before you couldn't do public transportation? Yes, we have folks that are doing that. Could you end up in a situation where you discover that you actually want to be an accountant or a bookkeeper, and you have an opportunity to do that and people can connect you? Yes, we're having that happen. Could you be in a situation where you pivot and the career that you thought you were going to go for doesn't actually work for you, and you've got folks in your corner to help you pivot towards something that is still part of your strengths. Yeah, we're doing that right now with somebody. If you ask for help, you create more opportunities to choose your adventure. If you ask for help, you bring in other people's perspectives who have your best interest at heart and can help you see that you're not always the problem. And anybody who's neurodivergent, I'm willing to lay money down that you spent a portion of your life being told to not be who you are. It's kind of like that How to Train Your Dragon, where the dad looks at Hiccup and says, this needs to change or whatever, and Hiccup looks at him and says, you just gestured to all of me.
Yeah.
So like we need, you need the people who say it's okay to pet the dragon.
Yeah.
Okay. That was therapeutic.
That was. I know I'm gonna when we put this on, I'm gonna listen to this, and I'm going to experience it outside of the moment that I'm in it, because it was, this is good.
We don't always say that. Sometimes we're like, that blew chunks. Or it was like too scattered or whatever. Yeah. That can happen. Exactly. But that's the cool thing about stories.
Yeah.
I share stories with my team all the time. And it could be appreciation. It could be, this is what's happening. It could be like whatever it is. Because I want them to know that I want to hear their stories as well.
Yeah.
And those are important to me. I think that's why you and we are sporadic, to say the least.
Yeah. We're prolifically sporadic. When we get going, we like very
sporadically prolific.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. We did well for a while when we had a schedule and then
we got busy, and then we got then we had life, and then we so I think ahead to 2026 and getting back into some sort of rhythm. But this is like these moments are great, so thank you again for joining us at the Should We Hit Record podcast.
Shall we hit record? So what I didn't, I thought you were going to do it at the beginning, and you didn't, was Maddy is the founder of Autistic Bridge, and focuses on connecting with parents, healthcare providers, educators, individuals around, their lived experience as a neurodivergent individual and as the parent of neurodivergent individuals, and intersectional. I'm telling your story.
Well, thank you. You're doing so well. Yeah. I'm a non-binary wheelchair user who's also autistic, and a parent of 4 lovely young adults who are all autistic. And so our life is my whole life is an outcome of parenting, that I learn about autism through my kids. My kids learn about autism through me and my advocacy. And it's I'm also, I could go on and on. If you want to know really a lot about me, check out my website at autisticrambler.com. I try to leave threads of all the different things, all the different tentacles I have around autism and disability in Canada.
We're going to start calling you the Kraken.
Let's get Kraken. The podcast starts.
Well, that was an idea.
Well, there you go.
No, Elizabeth, come on now. Okay. Okay. I got no more capacity.
Yes, it's okay. We're gonna crack a lack in here.
We're gonna crack a lack, and my son actually has a job interview today, so I need to go check in with it before he
Yes.
before your heads up. But thank you for joining us.
And I have 2 presentations to write, so yes.
I won't interrupt. Well, I will probably interrupt you later. I'm not going to promise nothing. It's not how this works. And I will get this one. I'll find the other one too. We did this a little while ago, and I'm like, yes, I'll get it up right away.
Yeah.
I am the block, so we need to find somebody to take that part on, so it actually happens.
We really do. We need one other person to do some of this, like, side stuff that's so important but takes the fiddliness. But we're so we are both neurodivergent and both have lots of ideas and only enough body to do X. So we need somebody to do Y so that we can Z much better.
If you want to volunteer with and just do some of the post-production,
slide into our DMs.
Hello. Elizabeth at spirocanada.ca. Wink, wink. All right. Thanks, everybody. We really appreciate it. And we will talk to you soon. You just nodded. Nobody can hear a nod.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Jazz hands.
Thank you for joining us on Across the Desk and our new series, The Autistic Rambler. Please visit spirocareerscanada.ca to learn more about the tools we're building with the autism community, and please visit theautisticrambler.com to learn more about Maddy Dever.